So, you're probably wondering where I've been. There's been a lot of really big life changes, a lot of really different things going on in my life, and so I think we're going to have to save a lot of that for another video, because where I've been for the last few weeks is here. Now, this lovely piece of paper is my study schedule for my upcoming MSRA exam over here. Nope, over here, which is in 3 days from now.
I know exactly what you're thinking. I swear to God, this guy said he was doing his last ever exam in medical school a few years ago. He was never going to have exams again. I wish that was the case, but with being a doctor, we always have exams pretty much every year or a few years, and so now it's my time to do the next one. Now, this exam is called the MSRA, which stands for Multi-Specialty Recruitment Assessment. I don't really think it matters what it stands for. The important thing is that I need to write it and do very, very, very well in order to be able to apply for surgical training here in the UK. And if you didn't know, my name is Nasser. I'm a doctor living and working in the UK, and I want to be an orthopedic surgeon. Now, there's a lot of hurdles to cross in getting to becoming an orthopedic surgeon, but this exam is kind of the first one. Now, last year I actually wrote this exam and I did just not well enough to meet the cutoff for an interview. Actually, I missed it by exactly 1 point, which, as you might be able to appreciate, was extremely frustrating and painful. So this year I've done everything twice as much. I've studied for twice as long and I'm doing twice as many questions and revision as I did last year. This better work. And as you probably know, if you've seen any of the videos on my channel, I've got a really intense, long and detailed study schedule, which I'm working my way through, and there's currently 3 days left until the exam. But I've also come back from a lovely big ski trip, and this is my dry cleaning of my suits and tuxedos and things whilst I was there. So let's put this away first and do a little bit of cleanup and admin in the house and then get back to work. So this ski trip was actually in St. Moritz. My first time being there. I was there with my girlfriend and her family, and I had such an incredible time. Skiing in Switzerland is absolutely incredible, and we went to a bunch of really lovely restaurants. I got to meet a lot of her family, and we just had such a good time partying and doing the rest of it as well. So that explains that little blue strip on my study schedule. And now that I'm back, I need to reorganize my life and do the tons of laundry that I've had over this trip, which I have been doing very productively over the last few days. And all that's left now really is to pack away my ski bag. So that's what this is. I'm going to take my pills. Don't freak out. It's just magnesium and tetracycline for my acne. Okay, so that is pretty much all the admin I think I needed to do today. And now it's time to sit down and get to work. So, like I mentioned, this is my study schedule that I have been following religiously for the last 4 weeks or so. This big blue line that you see here is my ski trip to St. Moritz and New Year's, and these big brown days are days that I took off and did not study. In fact, I averaged about an hour of studying a day whilst I was on the ski trip, which is not very good, but for all the other days I've averaged about 8 to 10 hours of like seriously intense studying, so that's good. And actually yesterday I filmed a study with me sitting right over here, which you can watch on the channel, probably out by now, somewhere over here, so check it out. Oh my god, I didn't even mention that I'm doing a master's this year. I'm not even working as a doctor right now. I'm doing a master's in medical robotics and AI. Very, very, very cool stuff. But again, I need another video for that. Oh gosh. Anyway, let's stay focused. Today's video is about this exam. If you're a medical student in the UK or maybe abroad, you might be familiar with some of the resources that I've been using. One of them is called PassMed or Pass Medicine. It's like the most ubiquitous study resource used here in the UK by medical students. I've completed that question bank. It's all done, and now I'm working through the knowledge tutor aspect of that question bank. I've also bought another question bank called MCQ Bank. and I'm pretty much about to be finished with that. I've done the mocks on the PassMed, which I did in my Study With Me video, and I did really well. And now I'm going to do the official MSRA mocks from the website and see how those go, and just keep studying. There's only 3 days left, so I'm just trying to stay focused, put in all the work and energy now, so that hopefully it can pay off, because this exam is very, very, very competitive, and every year the number of applicants is increasing quite substantially, and they take the same number of applicants every year. The top 1,200 applicants they take for interview. So gotta work really hard to make sure I do well, and that's what I'm focused on. All right, well, I guess there's not much left to do besides sit down and study. I'm gonna get started with doing a bunch of questions today in the morning session, knowledge tutor, and then clinical questions, and then situational judgment questions. And then in the afternoon, I'll probably do the 2 mocks that we have available. So let's just get started. I've got my snacks, I've got my coffee, and good luck if you're doing some studying as well. All right, first hour of studying down, we've done 140 questions and are averaging just about 80%, but I thought it would be a very good time to have a little cat break. So this is my cat, Mish Mish. Her name is Mish Mish because it means apricot in Arabic, and her eyes are very orange, as you may be able to see. Yeah. Meow Mishy. Now Mish Mish I don't think I've talked about much on the channel before. We've had her for about 1.5 years now. She's about 3 years old, 3.5 years old. And we've been very, very happy with her. She's very calm, mostly sticks to herself in the house, is not as cuddly as I would like, unfortunately. But as you can see, she's super, super, super adorable and cute. She's never scratched me, despite me being relatively rough when playing with her sometimes, because that's how I grew up with my cats at home. And her fur is the softest, silkiest, smoothest thing. But as a result, as you can probably see, she sheds a ton of fur. I mean, a ton of fur. Now normally that would be a problem for me because I am extremely allergic to a lot of environmental allergens, including cat and dog fur. And when we were looking for a cat to buy, and we went to visit lots of cats in different homes, and I was allergic to pretty much all of them, constantly coughing, sneezing, runny nose, itchy eyes, itching myself all over to every house we went to, and we almost gave up. This was one of the last cats we were going to see, and when I entered the home and I shoved her in my face, I wasn't allergic at all. I had no allergic symptoms, and I have not had any allergic symptoms since bringing her into the house, despite continuing to be allergic to a bunch of other cats and dogs that I've met since then. So I'm very, very grateful, and I feel super lucky that we have little Mish, and that I'm not allergic to her. She's absolutely adorable. Okay, I know I'm not quite as cute as Mish Mish, but just a brief interruption to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Notion. As you guys know, I've been using Notion pretty much since the inception of this channel. They are present across a whole number of my videos, and they are present throughout this entire vlog that you're watching right now. If you don't know, Notion is like an all-in-one platform for organizing everything you could possibly need to do in your life. I personally use it to organize my personal life, professional life, manage this entire YouTube channel, and just anything I can possibly think of goes in my Notion. Especially now that I've been doing a master's, I've been leaning heavily on Notion in order to help organize all of my lectures, assignments, modules, and everything that I need. Let me show you. So this is my master's in medical robotics page, and I've included some appropriate images to match that. And then this is kind of where everything lives and how I organize all of my life in the master's. So at the top here, I have a task list, and currently, thankfully, it's almost empty. I'm right at the end of my master's doing my thesis, but you can see you can add all the different tasks that you want here. You can change their progress status to done, in progress, not started. And if I finish something and it gets done, it just automatically gets removed from my task list and I can move on. And then these over here are kind of all of my big modules that I've been doing, oh my goodness, throughout the last year. Just an example, this is the clinical robotics one. I have some of the most important information about the course up over here, how much all the assignments are worth and what they were for. And then this is all the lectures that I've done. And each one of these has my lecture notes, and I can mark them as confident or not yet confident to keep track of what I've studied, what I know well, and what I still need to review. And then this is kind of the brainstorming area for all of the different pieces of coursework that I had to do. And then if we keep scrolling a little bit further down, I have my deadline timeline. So this is a kind of bird's eye view of all the different deadlines that I had over the course of the year. And you can look at this and present it in lots of different ways, but this is kind of what's been working for me. And now I'm really at the end with only pretty much my thesis being submitted as my final deadline, which is great news. This is a calendar, which is empty now, but I had been using to plan all of my events for my master's. And then here is kind of a breakdown of all of the assessments throughout the year, how much they're worth, and that way I can put in my grades and calculate kind of what my expected score is to be, depending on how I perform on my thesis, but touch wood, it's all been going well. And then on top of that, you guys will probably be quite familiar with my conditions page from medical school, which has, been seen loads and loads of times and been extremely helpful for me as a doctor. But now that I'm starting surgical training, I need a surgery conditions page. And this is what I've been using throughout this entire video that you're watching, and also over the last many months and many hours of sitting down and studying. This is where I keep track of, all the different surgical conditions that I need to know. Each one of these has loads of different information about the different conditions. It tells me about their presentation, their investigations, their management, etc. And I don't even know how I would begin to organize all this information if I didn't have Notion. And I hope it's clear how much I actually use and endorse this product. It's something that I've been using for many, many years, and I could not more highly recommend. You can try Notion for free using my link that's here on screen or in the description down below. But let's get back into the study vlog. Good little break. Let's get back to work. All right, I'm getting a little bit bored of sitting at that desk, so I'm gonna move over here. All right, team. So we're finished with the clinical questions. So we've done 78 questions with a score of 80%, which again, I'm happy with. So that's the 1/3 that I need to do today. So I'm going to end this exam. And now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the situational judgment test questions. Now, the situational judgment test is like the bane of my life. If you remember from my medical school final exams, we also had the situational judgment test there. And unfortunately, this is basically like a randomizer that these entrance exams use to help distribute the grades that people get on these exams. So if you're someone who studies very, very hard and learns all of the medical content very well, it's possible in theory to score 100% on your exam. And so your input and effort that you put into the exam is directly correlated with how well you perform. If you study for a year for this exam and memorize every single fact, you could score 100%. Now, to prevent all those people from choosing to work in locations in the UK that are desirable, so for example in London or Bristol or Manchester or Birmingham, other big large cities in the UK, they make half of the exam something called a situational judgment test, which is basically like a randomizer. So this is an exam where you're given lots of different scenarios and you have to rank answers based on how you would respond, etc. The problem with this type of exam is that it's very hard to study for in a systematic way. So your input and effort of studying is not directly correlated with how well you're going to perform. And that helps kind of distribute people, which is really, really, really terrible, horrible, and frustrating, and I hate it, but that is the case. So anyway, I really dislike studying for this exam and doing these questions, but I'm doing my very best so that I can hopefully perform as best as possible and get the ranking that I need to get an interview and then hopefully a job next year in surgical training. So anyways, that's what we're about to do. I need to do, well, there's only 26 of these questions left, so I think I'm just going to bang them all out and get them done before lunch, and then we'll catch up around then. So see you in a bit. Peace. Okay, so if you guys have been following me for some time on the channel, then you'll probably know about this company, Gusto. I've been using Gusto for something like 5 years now? Yeah, maybe 5 years or so, ever since the early years of me being in medical school. And they basically deliver groceries in set packaged amounts. Like, here's a packet of meat to your doorstep in this big box, and then you can cook the food specifically with the ingredients for that meal that you have. This is not a sponsored segment or segue or whatever. I love the company. If you're watching this, please do sponsor me. Tell your people to call my people and maybe we can figure something out. As I used to say, it's made my life 1,000 times easier when it comes to cooking, and I use it every single day for the last, I don't know how many years. So anyways, today we are cooking Lebanese style aubergine with spiced lamb and tabbouleh. Fantastic. So this is going to take a little bit of time to make. So I'm going to prepare all the ingredients and get cooking. I think I'm going to move you guys over here because the lighting is going to be a little bit better. But yeah, that's it. Let's get to work cooking, cutting, chopping, yada yada yada. All right, all done. That felt like it took forever. I'm so excited to eat. And actually the sun is out today. Look at how beautiful that is. Got some pretty good weather here for early January. I think after this I'm gonna go at least for a short walk and grab a coffee or something, just to experience the outdoors in this time of hard studying. But anyways, for now, I have been watching the Mr. Beast TV show on Amazon Prime, which has been so good. It's honestly incredible what a YouTuber can do. The show is amazing. Like, the budget is amazing, their storytelling, how they're focusing on different characters, the ideas. It's all very, very, very well done. And it's coming out once a week on Thursday. Today is Thursday. I don't know if a new episode is out yet. Yeah, it is. Awesome. Woo! So I'm gonna sit down and watch that and enjoy some relaxing lunch and chill time. And then yeah, we'll get back to it. Not before going out for a walk and some coffee. So, oh, Mish has come to say hi. Hello, everybody. Hello. Mish, no. That's not for you. Down. Down. Good. Good girl. Let's do this. I need water. Alright, y'all. So, finished lunch and just popped to the supermarket to grab some very simple stuff just to make some pasta sauce tonight for dinner, because that was the last Gusto meal that I cooked from this week. And went to Boots to get some toiletries, just some like hair gel, shower gel, etc, etc. We are definitely running at least a little bit behind my study schedule, but I feel like that always happens if I'm filming something and vlogging whilst also trying to get a bunch of work done. That's okay. It's nice to have change. For the rest of the afternoon, what are we doing? We are going to be doing mock exams. It's time. All right, so we've done 2 of the mocks from PassMed, which are the medical resource for studying for this exam, but there's also 2 official two official mock papers from the body that is carrying out this exam, and they're like half mocks or third mocks. They're not like a full exam paper, but they'll be the closest thing to the real exam that I'll get. So they're obviously worth doing, and I should revise them properly. Even though I feel so done with studying, I feel like I've been revising this material for so long. It's the final stretch, and I just need to push through and pull through and do one last push to get through this. I think for now we're gonna move to my desk in my office. Honestly, not for any other reason besides needing a change of scenery and just switching up the atmosphere a little bit. So first things first, let's change the lighting in here. There we go. I'm also gonna open up these blinds. Okay, lovely. So, what do we have on our plate? We have these 2 mock exams, 1 and 2. We'll do the clinical one first and then the other one. And we have a paper and rationales with a mark scheme here. So this is 45 minutes and that's 35 minutes. Okay. 70 questions in total, so it's less than half of an exam basically, but we'll take it. Why not? All right. Let me get a pen and paper. Let's get this show on the road. All right, guys. It's been
few hours now since I last looked at the camera. I did the 2 mock exams, the official emissary mock exams. The clinical section went extremely well, and then the SJT section is just such a mess, honestly. I think I've come to the realization that, well, I always knew, but it's kind of just clicked, that I really need to focus a lot more on the situational judgment section. My clinical part is completely fine, and I'm quite confident in that. But if I don't do well enough on the SJT, which is 50%, then I won't score as well as I'd like. So tomorrow I'm gonna try and spend, I think, a full day on the SJT section and really kind of hammer it home, just really trying to understand the underlying rules that they're trying to get us to follow, the principles that they're trying to get us to follow, so I can score well. I really would like to do well in this exam. That's the game plan. I'm currently collating a lot of information and making a game plan regarding the situational judgment test, and I'll do most of that work tomorrow. Noor, my sister, is coming home soon, and we're gonna cook dinner together, and then I might do a little bit more studying later. Actually, I probably won't. I'm doing something really exciting actually, which I'll pick up the camera and talk to you about later. For now, let me finish with this, but just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update and let you know how I'm feeling. And Mishmish, my cat, is just watching me from outside. She refuses to come in for some reason, and I just fed her and she's having her little post-food nap. Happy days. Alright guys, done with dinner. I just watched episode 1 of season 2 of Squid Games. Absolutely fantastic. I didn't even know the new season had released, but my sister told me. Really good, would highly recommend. It's about almost 9 p.m, 8:45, and this is the best part of my day. I am going to Japan and Australia in February and March. I know I haven't talked about it a lot, but I'm doing a master's this year, and one of my big kind of goals for this year was to actually take a step back from medicine, do something else for a year before I enter specialty training and surgical training. And part of my goals for this year was to do a lot of traveling. And I am so happy to say that I'm going to Japan and Australia. I'm really excited. We're going to do, I think it's like 5 days in Tokyo and then 5 days skiing in Hokkaido, in Niseko, I think, and then going to Australia for 2 weeks. So, you know, I'm over the moon, but holy shit, this requires so much planning and is so expensive. So yeah, every night getting on a call here with my girlfriend, and we're planning different aspects of the trip: flights, accommodation, activities, you know, things we want to do, things we want to see, booking, you know, restaurants and bars and stuff. So it's been a lot, but it's all obviously very exciting, and it's the thing that I look forward to at the end of a long day of studying. So that's what I'm going to sit down and do now. She's studying for her own stuff, so I'm just waiting for her to finish, and then yeah, we'll hop on a call and do some planning for this Japan trip. I'll obviously talk about it a lot more in future videos. I'm gonna vlog that whole thing, so subscribe to the channel to stay tuned. Alright, so just did a bunch of Googling and searching and research and all of that. We were looking at Niseko, which is the ski resort in Japan that we're going to, and we were looking at booking like backcountry ski tours, so that you can like drive a snowmobile up the mountain and then ski down in like untouched, fresh, waist deep powder, hopefully, fingers crossed. So excited. Literally, I've been dreaming about this for so many years. On the flip side to that, all of this admin and research is feeling very tiresome at the end of a long day of studying, and I think it's starting to catch up to me a little bit. So maybe tomorrow I won't
I won't do any of this and I'll leave it till after the exam so I can be in full focus. I'm gonna shower and get into bed and watch another episode of the Squid Games, go to sleep, and then wake up to start day number 2. 2 more full days of studying before the exam. It's been a while since I've done a vlog like this. I'm gonna get ready for bed and get some rest, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. Alright y'all, good morning. Day 2. Today is going to be a very heavy focus on the situational judgment test part of this exam. I'm gonna really try and focus on and distill the key kind of reasoning and elements that they want us to take away for this. Lucas in my chair. Hello. That's my spot, bud. I'm not sure how much he appreciates that, but it's 8:30 in the morning. Got a long day ahead. Let's just get started. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let's do it. Focus, 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 my guy. Okay, so quick little outdoor adventure to the post office. Like I said, when I go to Japan, we're going to rent a car, and you need an international driver's permit or license when you go there. And this is something that I don't have, and I have a Greek driving license, which was issued in 2013. And the Greek embassy is not being very helpful, so I'm going to see if I can switch to a UK license and then take my UK license and use that to apply for an international driver's permit. So my sister and I are walking down this very pretty street. She has something to send off at the post office too, and I'm crying because it's freezing cold. Anyways, quick little break from the studying, can't complain. I managed to get the paperwork that I need, which is this D1 form enclosed in here, and I also went to the picture place, what's it called, Snappy Snaps, to get my passport photos taken. And so I'm gonna go sort this out immediately because I'm leaving in 3 weeks or so, 3.5 weeks, and this is gonna take about 3 weeks, so I need to send it off ASAP and then hope that I get the British driving license delivered in time for me to get the international license before I go to Japan. So I'm gonna go fill those out immediately. Also got a coffee whilst I was out. Why not? Alright. So, quick little detour from our studying whilst we get this sorted out. I need to send it off ASAP to make sure it arrives on time for my trip. So, big green piece of paper that I need to fill out. Let's get this bread. Alright, signed, sealed, and delivered. Not exactly a piece of admin that I wanted to be doing with 2 days left for my exam, but hey ho, I'm on a bit of a time crunch, so let's get it done. Alright y'all, just sat down to get back to the grind, and that took 2 hours. 2 hours. Precious study time for me. I need to lock in big time. Alright, see you later. Alright y'all, lunch break is over, very unfortunately, and I'm about to start studying again. But I thought, it might be a little bit boring to watch me do some more studying like you've been watching me do for the last, 15-20 minutes or so in this video. And I thought it might be a little bit more interesting to tell you a bit about what I've been up to over the last year. So I finished my last doctor's job or placement in August 2024, and that was emergency medicine, which was a very challenging placement, but one where I learned a lot and definitely grew a lot as a doctor. And I've recorded half of my specialty review for that, but I'm not very happy with it, so I think I need to refilm it, but You'll see that video at some point. And then basically I had a few months off before starting a master's degree. Currently, right now, I'm doing a master's in medical robotics and AI, which has been incredibly fascinating. We spend half our time doing kind of data science and coding, learning how to query large medical databases and make use of that information and build AI models to learn information from that data. And then the other half is focused on clinical robotics, innovations in surgery and in robotics in the medical space. And it's super, super, super cool. We've got quite a few deadlines, projects, essays, and assignments due in January, which I'm trying to balance along with studying for this exam, which has been quite challenging. But I've been really focused and disciplined and done a lot of that ahead of time so I can focus on this test. And that's kind of where my focus and energy has been over the last year, trying to really throw myself into the deep end of this master's so I can get the most out of it and learn the most out of it. And I primarily did it so that I could do something a little bit different for a year before I entered specialty training and started, going towards being a surgeon, which is going to take a very long time and it's going to be quite intense. And also so that I could gain some new skills and potentially open the door to industry or working in industry, working on things that are outside of just being a doctor in the hospital. And fingers crossed, touch wood, I think it's going to achieve that goal and I'm really happy about it. If you guys want to know more about this, please do let me know in a comment down below. It's something I have loads to say about, so I'm sure I could make a whole video or series about, so just let me know. And without further ado, unfortunately, I think I just need to put my head down and get back to work. Do another 4 hours or so, and then take a break for dinner and doing some Japan planning, and then maybe another hour of studying. We'll see if I have the energy for it. But at least I feel like I'm making progress, things are being learned, which is a good feeling if you feel like you're moving in the right direction. And then yeah, tomorrow's the last day, not much else to do. Just gotta stay calm, stay focused, and be in the right headspace when I actually get to the exam center. Anyway, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for hearing me, and I'll see you in a bit. All right. Hello, everyone. What's going on? So I have done all of the situational judgment tests that I want to do today. Questions, excuse me. I'm burned out. I've had enough. There's more to do, but I'm going to save them for tomorrow, I think, just to have something to do that's not clinical and give me a good balance. I'm happy because I feel like I'm in a better place, or at least have improved from where I was feeling yesterday. And I think now it's officially gotten to the point where if I do any more of these questions, I'm just going to be confusing myself and learning bad habits or patterns that I don't really want to be learning. So I've got about an hour and a half of studying left to complete the second 4-hour block of the day. And I think I'm going to switch to focusing purely on clinical questions. I'm just making a tea, if you're wondering. I'm going to switch the focus to doing clinical questions, really just to give myself a break and a change from what I've been doing, and also so that I can continue to prep for the clinical part of the exam, which is 50%. Yeah, I need to continue to brush up on my... Oh, Mish, what are you doing in there? I was coming to sleep there. Yeah, your beautiful golden eyes, huh? Anyway, I will be kicking her out of there shortly because I'm moving to the couch for a change of scenery. Guys, check this out. No, don't leave. No. I got too excited. Mish, come on, man. Come study with me. All right, no such luck for me. And let's get to work. No, my girlfriend's dog. It's under a picture. All right, let's get to work. All done. So happy that's finished. That's all my studying done for today, which means I have 1 day of studying left. That's kind of crazy. Definitely not anxious or anything like that. 1 day of studying left. Tomorrow, I'm going to get dressed and go to the gym.
my god, it's absolutely freezing. Why am I wearing shorts right now? Fucking hell. Nice. Can't believe I'm doing this again. But it's been a year since I've used my little ice shaver off of the windscreen wiper. Mission accomplished. So, gym session just complete. I did back and biceps, which was lovely and much needed. If you're a regular gym goer, leave a comment down below and tell me if you prefer back and biceps or chest and triceps. I kind of fluctuate, but recently I've been liking back and biceps more. Okay, getting out of this pretty thin. Alright, country road, take me home. Last time I have vlogged about going to the gym, I was going to an Energy Fitness, and now I've changed to a David Lloyd's Club, which has been a fantastic improvement. So much bigger, more open, the machines are all new, you can use the sauna and the steam rooms. It's honestly like such a big change. It's really made a big difference to my enjoyment of going to the gym. Only difference is it's about a 15 to 20 minute drive away from home as opposed to 5 to 10 minutes away. It's made the activation energy of going to the gym a little bit higher, but to be honest, I think it's worth it. Plus, my girlfriend has the same subscription, and so we can visit any of the David Lloyd's around London. So if I'm staying at her place, we can go to the gym near her house. And if I'm staying at my place, we can go to the gym near my house, which is really, really convenient. And originally on this car drive, I was planning to talk a little bit about my master's degree and what I'm doing. Also why I took a break from YouTube, pretty long break. But to be honest, I think that's a bit too big of a topic for me to tackle A, on this short car drive, but B, to focus on whilst I'm driving, so I think we will leave it for another day. Anyways, I'm heading home now. My sister and I are ordering some food, and we're gonna sit down and watch something together. We're both caught up to the same spot in Squid Games, so we're gonna watch the next episode together, which is really nice. I've been able to spend so much more time with my sister this year out of medicine because my schedule has just been so much more predictable and so much more free compared to when I was working on the on-call rota as a doctor here in the UK. So we've been really enjoying our time together. I'll play a time lapse of us eating and enjoying ourselves for an hour or so, and then I'll see you tomorrow. Final day. Final day. I've been thinking and dealing with this exam for so long. It's gonna feel good when it's over. Alright, see you guys later. Peace. Okay. So, today is the last day. Which is kind of crazy to say out loud and think about, because this exam has been on my mind for so fucking long. Like, ever since last year, when I missed the cutoff for an interview because of this exam, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to do this exam next year. And then when I started my master's program, I did all my planning of when I'm gonna start studying for this exam, which was only a few months into the master's program. And then for the last 2.5 months, every single day, I've woken up early, studied for an hour in the morning, studied for an hour in the evening, every single day. And then now in the last 4 weeks, you've seen my little paper schedule. On those days, I've been doing about 8 to 10 hours a day, minus when I was skiing. I wasn't so great over there, but 8 to 10 hours a day other than that. So it's been a decent grind. Still nothing compared to the USMLE that I did a few years on the channel. That was maybe 10 times as much work and 10 times as hard. Completely different beast, but still, it's been a decent challenge and just a lot of work, and it's all come down to today. So I'm very, very excited to get this exam done, but I really want to do well enough to meet the cutoff for an interview so that I can have my interview and get a ranking and get a position and whatever, and just move on with this kind of stage of my life. I'm doing my master's this year. I want it to be over and done with so I can start surgical training and become an orthopedic surgeon. That's my ultimate end goal, and that's what I want to move towards. And this is the final kind of, not final, but like one of the last big hurdles in the way to getting that done. All I have to do
is keep my head in the game, stay focused, and just do what I've been doing for the last 2 months. And if I do that, I'll be fine. So what does the plan look like for today? There's only a few things I want to do today. First, I need to go through my need to know list on my Notion, and I need to go through every single thing that I've written down there as like I need to review and recap and need to know before the exam. Then I want to finish off all the clinical questions from the second question bank, MCQ bank, so that I can have those all done and put them to the side. And then I'm going to do a bit more practice of the situational judgment test type questions, where I'm going to really try and dial in and focus and think about the underlying strategies and core thinking that they want us to do so that I can do well on that aspect of the exam. And I predict this will take me until about lunchtime, maybe late lunchtime. And then after that, I think I'm just going to relax. Probably going to download some new game and play it on my PlayStation and just unwind and relax and try and, get in like a comfortable zone ahead of tomorrow. I've done so much studying over the last 2 months. Nothing I do today is going to drastically change that. So I just want to do enough so that I can be at peace in my mind and in my head with what I've done, and then just put it to the side. Oh, what do we have here? What do we have here? Nishi, this is my chair. This is where I'm gonna sit down to study, bud. You're not welcome here. That's my spot. Alright, buddy. You're gonna have to do the same thing we did yesterday, but in reverse. I'm gonna take this chair. I'm gonna move you here. Take this chair and move it back here. There we go. All right, team. It's time to absolutely lock in. Let's do this. All right, guys. We have a very important moment coming up in the journey of this MSRA studying. This is the final question of the second question bank, MCQ bank. 56 out of 57 is the last one I have to do. And got it correct. That is a good omen. Oh, just kidding. One more question. Usually caused by RSV, bronchiolitis. Boom. Show me the money. Exam over. All the questions are complete. Oh my god. When I started doing these questions 2 months ago, I had a goal of just completing one of the question banks one time, because last year I completed the PassMed question bank. I did about a third of those questions, so I didn't complete it. I did a third of one question bank. And this year I've done 2 question banks in their entirety. Feeling very good about that for the clinical part of the exam. Very, very happy that I've done that and that this is over. I think it was about 3,000 questions from the PassMed question bank, and then from this question bank, maybe about 1,500 or so. Hell yeah, that feels good. Okay, now if I really want, I can do the remaining 400 or so knowledge tutor questions, which would be relatively quick because they're quite fast to get through. How many are left? Yeah, 417. I could probably bang that out in about 2 hours. I'm not sure if that's the best use of my time. Maybe it is. Maybe I'll do this now before lunch, and then after lunch I'll do the situational judgment test stuff, and that way we can break it up in the morning and in the afternoon. Okay, sorry, I'm just talking to myself and making a plan. I'll check in with you guys in a bit. All right, kind of random, but I've gotten super bored of sitting down and studying. So I've decided to cast my laptop to the TV, and I'm just gonna walk around this room and read the TV and click the questions on as I go. And I think that'll be mildly more interesting than what I've been doing before. So let's put you guys up here. All right, guys, I just went for a really lovely walk actually with my sister. We went walking around the neighborhood, got ourselves some coffee, and honestly, this time of year and with this sun, London is gorgeous. Like the crisp, fresh air. It's a little bit cold. You've got the sun blasting. Everyone is out and about in their like late autumn, winter clothing, and it just looks so peaceful and happy. Makes me really grateful to be here during these times. But it's time. The last up to 4 hour session of studying that I'm gonna do for my exam tomorrow. Oh man, Last thing, just gonna focus on the situational judgment type questions and I'm gonna call it a day, which is crazy to say out loud. But here we are. It's actually just time. Time has come. Let's do it. Let's do it. Peace. Guys, not really sure what to say. I think I'm done. I think I'm finished. Don't really know what to do with myself. I feel like for the last hour I've been very antsy sitting at my desk, knowing that I'm about to come to the end of what I wanted to do today. And I feel so strange, I feel so weird. But I think I'm actually done. All the clinical stuff, I know it at this point. I just need to be in the right headspace to answer it. And if I don't know it, I'm probably not going to learn it in the last day. Situational judgment test stuff, still very confusing, challenging, feels very vague, etc., etc. But I think any more reading and practice I do is probably just going to confuse me. So I think I'm done. It's almost 5 p.m. So 2 hours less than I would have normally studied, which doesn't seem like that much less. And gives me a bit of time to try and unwind and relax and enjoy the evening, I guess. I think tomorrow morning, I'm still going to wake up early. My exam's at midday. And I'll probably do an hour of just studying high-level things from different places that I just think of at the time, just to kind of keep it right at the forefront of my mind. But other than that, this is it. I mean, I really think it's time to do the final honors. There's only one thing left to do. Last day. Complete this. All done. Everything finished. Whew, just one more day. Crazy. Alright guys, so what I've decided to do in my plentiful extra 2 hours of free time the day before my massive exam is to play some video games on the PS5. And I just finished a game, many weeks ago, called Dredge, which was amazing. It's this fishing horror game, which you would never expect those two genres to be together or work so well, but it was very, very, very good. I loved it. And another game that's been on my watch for some time is No Man's Sky, which you guys might have heard of you must have heard of if you play video games. And so I went to download it, and it's apparently gonna take 3.5 hours to download, which is absolutely shite, because that means that I can't play it now. So I'm gonna have to find something else to do. I'm going to browse around for another game, either that I already have or that is significantly smaller in size, and see if I can download that. And yeah, otherwise I spoke to my sister, I spoke to my girlfriend. I'm comfortable, confident, and happy in what I've done. I've done so much work over the last 2 months, and this is it. This is all I can really do. So I'm just gonna enjoy myself, try and take it easy for a few hours, get lots of good sleep, good rest, wake up tomorrow, review and revise the last few things that I wanna make sure stick in my head, and then call it a day. And we'll go from there, and I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow and after the exam. So yeah, hopefully all the next clips you see of me this evening are me just chilling out, relaxing, and having fun. Alright, downloaded another game, Dave the Diver. I've heard very good things from my sister and from my friends, so let's see. Alright, it's time. It is the final day. It is 8:15 in the morning. And I'm going to sit down on my computer and just shove every last little fact I can possibly think of that might be important into my head for the next hour or two. Then I'm going to chill out, have something quick to eat, and go. This is it. This is the final little bit of work I need to do. All right, let's get it. It's go time. All right, team. I have decided that I'm absolutely done studying. I did a bunch of situational judgment stuff and clinical stuff, and I think anything else that I do is just gonna get me confused. So I have about half an hour to kill before I've forced my sister to come on a nice relaxing walk with me. And what I've decided to do in that time is do some ironing, or steaming I should say, to help de-stress myself and iron out the creases in my pants. So that's what I'm gonna do. Alright team, that's all done. Time to make the bed. I used to be one of those one pillow on the bed kind of guy, and now I'm a 4 pillows on the bed kind of guy. And soon I'm going to be at 8 pillows on the bed kind of guy, and then 10. Where does it stop? I'm going to wear the most comfortable clothes I can possibly think of wearing. So that is going to be sweatpants, which are here. Avert your eyes. This white t-shirt, and then every time I've written a standardized exam, I usually wear a hoodie and then put my hoodie up on my head and then the headphones to create like maximum noise cancellation. But they always come and tell me off and make me take off my hoodie. I think because I have the hood up and they think I don't know, trying to cheat with something electrical. So this time I'm wearing a crew neck so that I can stay warm and no one can tell me anything about my hood. And also, very, very importantly, I'm taking some of these. These are kind of like earplugs, but they're a like texture putty thing that you can like roll up and just like shove into the outer canal of your ear, which I personally find much more comfortable than earplugs, and they actually stay in my ear because earplugs always fall out of my ears, which is really annoying. So personally, those work very, very well for me. So I'm going to take some of those, which last time they gave me a lot of trouble for, again, because they're like, these are not allowed. And I was like, please, just have a feel of them. They're literally just putty. There's nothing in there. And then they eventually allowed them. That was last year. A whole year ago. Wow, a lot has changed in a year. Crazy, crazy, crazy. If you're watching this right now, drop me a little good luck comment with a 4-leaf clover or something, and just send all your good energy and vibes my way. Oh, I lied. I'm actually a 5 pillows kind of guy. There's my 5th pillow. All right, gonna do nothing for 10 minutes, and then head out for my relaxing, calming walk. Let's do it. All right, y'all. Good morning. It is the day after I wrote my exam yesterday, which you can probably tell by the setting. So what happened yesterday, I left for the exam feeling pretty confident, and I was very happy, and I still am very happy with the amount of work and effort that I've put into this. I've studied every day for about 2 months, with a very significant amount of time put in over the last 4 weeks or so. And I completed 2 entire question banks and a bunch of past papers. I even redid all the questions that I got wrong from those question banks, which is about 3 to 4 times as much work as I had done last year. So definitely did my part. Then, so sat down for the exam. First half is the situational judgment section. And honestly, things were going pretty well. I think for maybe 30 to 35 out of the 50 questions, I felt like I could understand the reasoning I could follow the logic. I felt like things kind of made sense, and I was like, okay, I'm following logic, I'm doing things reasonably, this is all going well, at least better than it did last year. So I was quite happy with that. I think towards the end, things got a little bit confusing and dicey for me, but it's okay. Overall, I think it went better than last year. I remember last year sitting in the exam, like with my blood boiling, thinking, how could I possibly be expected to answer this question? This is so stupid, blah, blah, blah. So much better than we were last year. Then the second half of the exam, where I took a quick bathroom break, came back, did my deep breaths, entered the zone, and was ready to dive into the clinical section. And I dove into the clinical section And right off the bat, from the very first question, I just looked at it and I was like, what? As I kept going more and more and more, I just kept getting more and more frustrated with the questions that were being asked. But basically, to summarize everything, I left the exam with the feeling that if I had studied maybe half as much or less, I would have come out with the exact same result. No amount of extra studying I would have done would have changed the outcome. There's nothing I could have done differently, and I'm very much at peace with that. I did all the studying that I could, and I did it in the correct way. Nothing else that I could have done or changed would have affected my score on the exam that I took yesterday. So it's quite a frustrating position to be in, thinking that last year I studied for this exam for 3 weeks, doing pretty much a third or a fourth as much as I did this year, and I've come out with the exact same feeling. And last year I missed the interview cutoff by a single mark, which was very, very disappointing, and which was quite disappointing and kind of difficult to deal with. And now I find myself feeling the exact same way, where I don't know what my outcome is going to be, and I have a few weeks to kind of live in fear and hope and pray that I meet the cutoff for this interview. Who knows? I don't know. There's, I think, 3 or 4 weeks until we find out if we have an interview, and then 2 weeks after that is when the interviews are. So we basically have to start preparing for the interviews from now, as if we're going to get them, and then if we do get them, we continue studying. If we don't, we just stop studying, I guess. So yeah, that's the position that I'm in, which is not the best, but it is what it is. The exam is over now. I am trying to move on to the next kind of phase of my life, the next things that I need to do. So, you know, this piece of paper, this study schedule is out, it's finished. I've crossed off the last little MSRA thing. And then yesterday I spent about an hour and a half or so making my new study schedule, which is this. This is what my next month and a half to 2 months are gonna look like. It's a mixture of courseworks and exams that I have for my master's in medical robotics and AI, and then some research that I'm doing with my old orthopedics team at the hospital I was working at last year, and then of course preparing for the interviews for this application and collecting the evidence that we need to portray and show to prove that we've done X, Y, and Z. And at the same time, I'm going to be traveling to Japan and Australia. Hell yeah. I'm so excited about that. So there's a lot going on in my life over the next 2 months, and so much that I want to talk about, so much that I want to film. And you know, if that's something that you'd be interested in, or if there's anything else you want to know about or hear about, please do let me know in a comment down below. I'm slowly and surely regaining the motivation to make videos on this channel and to film and talk about my life, which I've been really enjoying, to be honest, whilst filming this vlog. So if there's anything in particular you guys want to hear about, let me know in the comments down below. But other than that, I am pretty much just putting that behind me and immediately moving on to the next few things I have to do. Most pressing are 2 pieces of coursework that are due in 2 weeks' time for my master's, which is like a huge coding task, building a machine learning model to make some predictions about some data that our professors have given us, which I'm really excited about, but quite scared about because I'm not a coder, but I'm learning on this master's. So I'm just gonna get right into that. And that's pretty much it. If you've watched all the way to the end, I just want to say a big thank you. Leave me a comment down below with like a couch or a pillow or something like that, some piece of home furniture, just to let me know that you've watched to the end. I'd be curious to see how many people watch these videos all the way through. There's probably been a lot of yapping in this video, so thanks for sticking with me. Anyways, that's it. And damn, for the first time in like a year, I'm gonna sign out a vlog. Feels good to be back. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.